So when we make a flow, so we can see that there are different types of flows present in the system. We will not discuss all about what is flow. Basically, this topic is all about how we can make use of flow as an API. So there are different types of flow, and if you see, there is auto launched flow also. Auto launched means basically auto launched is basically it runs in the background. For example, if I created a record in the system and from the trigger, from the trigger, I can launch a auto launch flow. Means auto launch flow can be invoked by Apex, process, REST API, and more. Let's say I inserted an account record, and on the account record, there is a trigger or process builder. So what is trigger? Trigger is also you can say that also a feature in Salesforce. We can perform some operations after the insertion and deletion or updation of the record. So trigger is, you can say, that programming approach. By using that approach, we can write some automations after insertion and deletion and updation of the record. So how auto launched can be called, auto launched flow can be called, it is called from Apex or process builder. Means process builder, you can say that now Salesforce has retired the process builder, so we can call the auto launch flow from another flow. Means basically this where auto launch flow can be called from either Apex class, either another flow, or a REST API. Means we can expose this flow as a REST API also. So that is all about auto launch flow. We will not go about the other flow. Every flow has its own feature and functionality. According to our requirement, we can make use of these flows. So we will cover auto launch flow. Hope you people have understand auto launch flow. Auto launch flow means it calls automatically, it runs in the background, and it is called from Apex classes, another flow, or through REST API. REST API you will understand now easily when we cover the session, right? So till now, any question? You can chat also. Yes, Narendra, we will get the recording. Yeah, we will share the recording.
Sir,
Any question till now? Yes.
sir, yeah. Can you call the flow in asynchronization methods? Asynchronization and a batch up and workflows is out in a workflows and flow build process builder. You call to the asynchronization person. Asynchronization batch up, schedule up, and feature method. Can you call it? But flow is a possible.
Means you are asking question ki can we call a synchronous thing from the flow, you are saying, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes. When you make any record trigger flow, there is a option also.
But you are saying how they not write the coding in.
Sorry.
You are saying you told the not write the coding, that is in a that you are saying. So
Yes.
how to the
Yes.
how to the possible.
Means I am saying if from the flow also we can call Apex classes also, right?
Okay.
So so that Apex class can be called in synchronous way or asynchronous way, right? So we can call this, and even we can run the process asynchronously. There is a checkbox here, include a run asynchronously path to external shift. Means there is an option here also. So when we want to run logic asynchronously, there is a checkbox here also. I hope that was your question.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's go to the flow, which flow I have made. So let's repeat once again. Today topic is about we will expose the flow as an API and external system. External system can be anything. It can be another Salesforce org, or it can be another system which is built in another language, another platform, right? So that can be called. In previous session, we saw how we can expose Apex class as a REST API. Why we expose the things? Because external system can access the data and do some operations in our org, in our system. So I have made one flow as API. And if you see its type, this is auto launched flow, because auto launched flow can be exposed as API. We cannot expose other types of flows as we saw in the screen flow, right? Record trigger flow, right? Scheduled flow. So we cannot expose them as an API, but we can expose auto launched flow as an API. So let's see what I have built. So I have made just simple thing. So what I am doing, I am explaining you. I have just to show you the example, just basic things. So if we understand the basic things, we can easily perform advanced things also, right? So there is only one element update records. And what is the update records? You can see that what I am doing, I am querying opportunity object. So when we create update records, when we use update records element, means we will query any object and update that. So what I am doing, I am querying opportunity, and conditions I have given id equals id. So basically this id is I have created a variable here, id. And if you see the variable, this is an input available for input. Means if this flow is getting called from either Apex, either another flow, or either REST, either from external system, they can pass some value in this variable. That's why while creating this variable, I have checked this checkbox available for input, because I have to take the input in this variable, and the data type is text. And similarly, I have created another variable named description, and I have also made it available for input. Now, what I have done, opportunity equals ID, means whatever the ID will come, whatever the value of the ID, it come from the anywhere, from Apex, from REST API, or any other flow. Now we will talk about only API. From any other external system, they will provide the ID. They will send the ID, and I will find the opportunity on the basis of that ID. So I will find the opportunity. Now what I am doing, I am updating the description field of the opportunity. There is a standard field description, and through which value I am updating? The value which is getting passed in description input. Is description input variable, means external system will pass the ID of the record and description. These two things they will pass, and what I will do, I will update the opportunity. So if you understand the use case, the external system will be passing the ID. That can be anything. To show the example, I am taking it as ID to make it simple, because ID, we update records in the Salesforce using ID. So external system will pass the ID and description. I will store these into. I am querying the opportunity with the ID and updating the description field. That's it. Think, there is no coding required in this. That's it. It's a simple example, simple use case I have shown. And you have any other requirement also, they are passing something, and basis on that, for example, they are passing amount, and you have to calculate some amount and store in the opportunity record. So requirement can be anything. Just understand the basics. So this flow is doing what they're doing, only updating the opportunity. And this is an auto launched flow. This is the auto launched flow. Now I will call this flow from other system. So for example, you have a requirement. So you have a requirement. The external system is the other team is saying ki I will pass the opportunity ID, and you have to update the description of that opportunity. So what you will think? You will think I will write a test. I will write a Apex class. Yeah, just pass me the ID and I will write an Apex class to update the opportunity. But there is a way. Without writing the code, we can also do it through the flow also. Okay, because auto launch flow can be exposed as API. Auto launch flow. Now I will call this API, sorry, this flow from another org. That can be anything. In the previous session, I have given the example using Workbench. Workbench is basically a service that allows to connect with Salesforce and do some operations, REST API operations, insert, update, delete operations, right? So I will not show that, I will show from another org. So this session will also cover, there is a question how we can connect two org, right? How we can connect two org in Salesforce. Means another Salesforce org will be calling my flow. Let's, no, that is not the topic, Naren. That just focus on this topic. We are exposing this flow as an API. We'll cover that topic in another session, right? So, for example, if we have to allow another org to connect with my Salesforce org, we have to make a connected app, right? We have to make a connected app also. So I have made one connected app. Let's go to the connected app. So in simple terms, you just take this key to connect with external system, to allow external systems to connect with the Salesforce. We can make use of connected app. So in setup, if you type apps, so there is a app manager. And here I have made one, you can make connected app from here, new connected app. And means basically, you know which applications are going to interact with this. So we can make use of new connected app. So here I have made one connected app REST API test. This is type of connected. And if you see this, what is this connected app? So here this is consumer details are maintained. Means in this once we click this button, we will see the client ID and secret key. And this we give it to the client. Means client, who will be the client? The person, the system which will be calling our system. So that is used to authenticate that client or system. So when we click this, it asks for this is for security features. It asks the verification code. It will come on my email, and once I put the verification code. So let's put the verification code. Okay, so 811520. So if you see this, this is a consumer key and consumer secret, and this we give it to the customers, to the client system, that will send in their request, that we can know that this is the client which he is requesting. He will be requesting, and our Salesforce org will be able to authenticate that client. So now go to the another org. So here if you see, this is another org. This is my another developer org. Now I will call that flow which I have made in this org to this org. and see how it can be possible. So suppose it's a Salesforce org, right? And it can be any system. It can be any other system. It can be any other system. So you don't have to take care about that. For example, you have got a task to write a flow that will expose an API as an API, and it will take the input of ID and it will update the description. That's it. And if you have also knowledge of coding, so you can see that how we can call, how we can connect, how we can call another org resources from another org. So this is the class. So if you go one by one, the class, if you go one by one, this is a class name, and in the class name I have made one method called flow. Now here the logic start in the method. So I have kept all the things hard coded to make this session simple, make this example simple, right? So when we call an API, when we call any resources, so we need an endpoint. Which endpoint we are going to hit means where is the resource, which resource you want to access, what you want to do. So you cannot go anywhere, right? You have to hit the right endpoint, means you have to hit the right URL. So first, when we are going to connect with another system, another Salesforce, we have to authenticate first. So you can see that how the authentication happens. And this is a one way of, you can say that one way of authentication, authentications we do in Salesforce. For example, if another system wants to connect with the Salesforce, you can just treat this Salesforce org as another system. That's it. Another system, if wants to connect with the Salesforce org, how that system, how that system developer will write the code in his language. So for example, this is a Apex language, right? So just if you have the basic understanding how the things is happening, the logic can be written in any programming language, right? So this is an endpoint. So since this is a developer org, so I have taken this endpoint. First of all, we have to get the token, access token. Without getting the access token, we cannot access the resource. So first request will be getting the access token, and where the access token can be accessed through this endpoint. For example, if you are doing in the sandbox, if you are accessing the sandbox org, this will be a test.salesforce.com/ rest will be same. But since this is a developer org, and if this is a production org, the URL will be this. And now username and password. And if you see the client ID and client secret, which I have shown you in the connected app. So now endpoint is there, username I have, password I have, client ID and client secret. Now I have to call the API. And the first request will take the access token. If you are not able to understand the code, just understand how the things is happening. Now we have to make a request. So in Apex, if we have to make a request, we make use of HTTP request class. And what will be the method? Post method. We are posting with these details. And there is a set header method. It is passing how we are sending the information, what is the content type. So we are sending the information in the URL only. So if you see the next method, set body, there is a query parameter, grant type equal to password, client ID equal to this, client secret equal to this, username equal to this, password equal to this. Means from till here, you can see that in the line number 16, we have set the endpoint also. So till here, you can see that this is a request we have made. For what? For what? To get the access token. So if you understand the basics here, let's make it simple. If we have to access, if we have to call any API, what we need? A endpoint authentication. You can treat this as an authentication. What is the authentication type? So basically this is a authentication of token. Means by taking the token, I will hit the resource. Means I have the, when I get the token, I can hit any resource which I have been exposed to, right? Now the another code is, it is sending the request, and once the request comes to this or means on this endpoint with these details, it will, in the response, it will give the, I will show in the debug log also, it will give the access token. And here we have parsed the response and store the access token in this variable access token. So now I have the access token here. So now I have the access token. Now I can make use of this access token. By using this access token, I can hit any resource. But any resource means which I have been exposed to. Right? Now what we have to do? We have to make another request. And our use case, our session was that we have to call the flow. So if you see, I will call this flow and I will pass the ID and description. So if you see the next request, again I am making one more request, HTTP request. Now if you can see the here endpoint, this is basically the base URL will be the instance URL. And if you see this instance URL, this is the similar to this, Amit Kumar. Now after that, services, data, these all are standard. Actions, custom, flow. Means these all are static. These all remain same. So to call a flow, what will be the, you can say that what will be the URL, instance URL slash, if you see that these things remain same, flow. These things remains same. Now here it comes the flow name. So whatever the name of the flow, we have to put it here. So in this, if you see the, if you go through this, okay, let me go. Till now, if you have any questions, you can ask. Are you getting or not? Anyone? Okay, most thanks, Mohsin. So here is the name of flow is flow as API. So if you see in the endpoint, the last name is the name of the flow. So you have to remember, if you are hitting any resource which is auto launch flow, the endpoint will be like that. Instance URL slash services slash data. This is the version, the actions, custom slash flow, and the name of the flow. So now we are done with the endpoint. Now we are setting the method, set method. What is the HTTP method? That is a post, because we are posting the data, right? Content type, there is a method set header. As we discussed in the last session also, set header provides extra information what we are passing with the HTTP request. Means content type. What will be the content type? We will be passing the application JSON format. Will be passing the data. Now set header is also passing the authorization. What is the authorization type? It's an access token which we got from the first request. So this thing means we can say that we are also discussing about the one type of authentication also we are doing with Salesforce. Means by make use of access token, means I have the token, means I contains the token, I am the bearer of the token. So this is the way set header is passing the information. Now these things is important. Now I will open this class flow request. So I have made one. You can say that this is a wrapper class, which will be treated as a request. Means we will store this. We will make this request. We will make the request. So if you see this, there is ID and description, and I have kept the same. You can see that I have kept the same. Whatever I have given in this, let's open this flow. So I have kept the same name with the flow input variables. That also needs to be taken care. That needs to be same here, ID and description. So once we connect with the system, we provide our specifications, right? Okay, what will be the specifications here? So I will pass, brother, you will have to pass this, we will have to call this endpoint. Method should be post. Header content type will be application JSON. Authorization should be bearer access token, and the request should be like that. I will show you the request also. Just understand this class. We have kept one variable ID and description, and here we are creating the object of this class. If you see there, flow request dot inputs, and this is the object name, and object name using new operator. I have created the object, and here I have passed the hard coded ID. To show you the example, this hard coded ID is basically opportunity ID which exists in another Salesforce org. Means the opportunity record with this ID is present in the system. So I am passing this ID, and description I am passing updated from external. So I have made the request. Now I am going to call this. Let's see. And let's check, is this with this ID, the record exists or not. So this you can see that there is opportunity record with this ID, and in the description what I am doing, I am making this blank, so we can, and when we can understand the value is coming from the from when we are calling the flow from another Salesforce org. So here you can see description is blank. Now what I am doing, I am updating this, and I am making the change updated from external, and let's updated from another Salesforce org. I am writing another Salesforce org. Save. Let's call it from the. So for example, in Salesforce, we have to call this, you have to run this method. You can, for the testing purpose, we can directly call it from the developer console, right? From anonymous window. So Apex can be called from anonymous window also. So to show the example, I am calling this method from the developer console. So once I call this method, all the logic will run. What is the logic? It is getting the access token of the another org, and by getting the access token of another org, it is making another request, or another request which is requesting a flow resource, auto launch flow resource in another system, and sending two parameter ID and description. That's it. Now when the request come here, so this auto launch flow will run automatically. It queries this opportunity and update the description. The whole agenda of this session was to run this use case. And if you understand this, you can easily understand how the API works. If you do, I pretty much sure to make this, if you get this requirement, you think about I have to write some Apex class also in this org also to make things work. But without writing Apex class, we can make use of flow. So now let's okay. So you can see that what I am doing, I am calling this class and this method. Since this method is static, so I am calling directly using class name. This is the class name dot method name. So I am calling this execute highlighted. So if now I have called the method, now see the debug log. So if you see the debug log, basically the first debug is this, where 22 number. What is the means the request response dot get body after hitting this endpoint using these credentials, username, password, client ID, and client secret, what we have received. So for security purpose, the access token does not get printed in the debug log. So you can see the like that session ID removed. But in the access token behind the, you can say that behind the background, in the background, this is actually a session, access token, right? And let's see what is instance, right? And token type, what was the token type issued at, and what is this is a signature. Now another debug log at the 47. This is for the another request we are making. What we have made the request, if I print this here, so in this format, we had to send the request. So you can easily understand. So if you are calling a Salesforce auto launched API, we have to pass the request in this format. Inputs, and this is you can see that object, and in this object there are two variables, ID and description we are passing, and this should be matched with this here whatever input variables we have created. So you can see the name exactly matches, the case is also getting matched. Now if I refresh this, and in the response, if you see the response also in the last, there is no errors, each success is true, and means the flow, the API is successful now. The flow, there is no error in it. If there will be any error, each success will be false, and there will be some value in error. What this will give the description about the error. So now let's refresh this. I am refreshing in another org now, right? I have called this flow from this org, Cosmosoft, and now I'm checking in another org. This is Amit Kumar, right? So this is different, totally different org. I have made a connection. And now if you see the description field, updated from another Salesforce org, which I have passed in the description. Updated from another Salesforce org. So basically, what we have to send the request in a JSON format, right? To make a JSON format, I have created a class here. Let's understand more about request. I have created a class. If you see inputs, there is inputs. Basically, if you see the inputs, it's an array. When the JSON has this structure, a square bracket, this is treated as array. So I have created inputs as a list here. List of inputs. And what is the inputs? What is the input? Input attribute contains? It contains ID and description, right? So I have made this request using this class till here. If you can see that till here, and after that I have serialized this class. So once we serialize the class, it converts into the JSON. So basically JSON.serialize is a inbuilt JSON is an inbuilt class, and serialize is its method. So if you want to convert this class object into JSON, we have to make use of this method serialize. Similarly, if I have a JSON object and I have to convert into the Apex class, this can be done using JSON.deserialize. So serialization and deserialize are two different things. Serialize means, just remember, from a class to a string. Deserialize means a string to class. So I hope I am able to understand you how we can connect two orgs, how we can, after connecting two orgs, how we can expose a Salesforce auto launch flow, and it can be called from another org by passing some inputs. And once the API is successful, whatever logic written in this flow, it runs. So this session was all about this. Do you have any questions? We can talk here regarding this session only. And if you have any questions, we can. Yes, Mohsin, I will send you. I will send you my YouTube channel also. And there I am running I am putting videos every day on LWC. So if you go through those videos, I think very informative session also. So I will share the link also. So let's see my channel. So this is my channel, and so here I have created a LWC flow, and sorry, a playlist for LWC. So you can watch this through. So right now I will put this in the chat also, so you can go through. Okay. Apart from this, do you have any? Sorry. Anyone have questions regarding this session?
Any hello?
Yes.
What is the disadvantage into flow? Disadvantage.
Disadvantage. Yeah, you are saying disadvantage of flow.
Yes.
So I cannot see any disadvantage, but yeah, if, for example, if we are not making a use of flows correctly, what I can see, people get the requirement and write Salesforce flows, but in that flows, they don't use any exception handling things. So if any error occurs, so we are not able to know what is the exact exception. We have to, means debugging is very tough in the Salesforce flow. Right, that one part. And if there is a complex business scenarios, long running process scenarios, I think we should avoid flows in that scenarios, right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Any other question regarding this topic we discussed? If we don't have any questions, we can conclude this session, and we can connect in another session also. Thank you, everyone. If business logics are more, we have to move to trigger. That's correct. That's correct. Business logics are more, and that logic cannot be possible through the trigger. We can go, sorry, cannot be possible through flow. We can go through the trigger also. So thanks everyone for your time. We'll meet in another session. Thank you.